Coach, what makes Donovan Hinish a productive player despite maybe not having the measurables that some schools want?
Yeah, he's a bulldog, right? The immeasurables for him are very measurable. His toughness, his football IQ, his preparation, his tenacity, his desire to be the best. Again, there's a part of the game that out there that people don't want to recognize that. They want to say what you aren't, but those things that we just talked about, they're very, very measurable in him, and that's what makes him play at a really high level. He's really durable, he's really dependable, and he's a great teammate. So I can't say enough about that young man and how he prepares.
And then now that he's had a couple weeks to get back in the flow house, Tay Johnson kind of adapted to the defense.
Yeah, I mean, just making progress. We just got to keep pushing him out of his comfort zone. It's hard to learn in the middle of the year. He's got to, invest in it. He's got to be all in terms of getting in the playbook, catching up on the things that he's missed. Coach Mick is working hard with him, and we're going to need him at some point. We're going to need him. We're going to need Carson. We saw Luke step up last week. We saw Kennedy earlier in Purdue. We're going to need all those guys down the stretch. Ben Minnick, all those guys. It's go time. And a lot of those guys, we need them to really step up, grow up, and do whatever they can to help us down the stretch.
Coach, next man in is an old football adage.
Yep.
For your defensive line, it has been unbelievable to see that there has not really felt like too much of a drop-off, and now you lose Howard for this week. What's it about this group and maybe Coach Washington that's allowed this group to not really miss a beat even when guys...
I think that's it. There's not really a discussion upstairs or downstairs about, so-and-so's not playing. It's just, all right, who's up and what do we have to do? So Coach Wash does a great job. I think the players themselves understand that this is part of the game. Attrition is part of the game. And yes, it's been unfortunate. We feel badly for those that have endured an injury, but at the end of the day, this game waits for no one, and we're on a clock. We had early downs today. Guys stepped up. We got guys maybe moving around a little bit, playing a little bit more, playing a little bit different position, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, there's only one standard here, and that's the standard we're measured against. So they understand that, and Wash does a great job with them, and now they have to respond against a team that really knows how to run the football well in Virginia.
One of those guys that stepped up is Bryce Young. Can you just tell us a little bit about what's allowed him to be able to jump in so quickly as a young player?
Yeah, I think he was hitting the wall there, before the first bye, and then Navy, right, which is really difficult for a freshman. It was a lot for him. And then I think since then he's really settled in nicely, and he works hard at it. His effort is relentless on the field. He finishes really well. He does that every day in practice, and he's growing, he's learning, and he's becoming more dependable. And he's just got to stay in the book, just keep eliminating the little defects here and there. But we're excited about his growth and the maturity and what he brings to our defense.
Have you had former players from the last few years reach out to you and provide their thoughts on what the defense looks like from their view?
What our defense looks like?
Yeah.
I'm always asking for input. It doesn't matter who it is. Like Maris was the last guy I saw. I've reached out to Cam and JD and Javante from last year's group. Just first of all, congratulate them, stay in touch with them or whatever. But just hey, do you have any good drills? Are you doing something unique there that we need to do here that you said, I wish I would have done that. So yeah, no, we're open to anything, and we want to have a bunch of guys every year that go, and that's the kind of culture that we want to have. That's what we come to work every day to do, to develop these young guys and make them the best that they can be. And if they have an opportunity to make us better when they graduate from here and move on to the NFL, then yeah, we're all ears. Trust me.
How often do you get a feedback that maybe you do actually use from one of those guys?
Our former players are great. It doesn't matter who it is. I got a chance to see Bryant Young before the game the other day, and a bunch of other guys, Timmy Brown and a bunch of other guys. I listen to everybody. I'm all ears when it comes to those guys. And I stand at attention when they have gold jackets. So that means they've done something really well, and in their career they've accomplished something. And their coach calls them misfits, right? They did something so unique that they got a gold jacket for it. So I want to hear it. I want to hear about it. I want to share it with our players, and we really appreciate when those guys come back and they're around. We see them all the time. It's awesome.
Is Sean Sevillano at the point where he can help you
Yep.
meaningful reps?
He's there, yeah. Armel, Sean, it's go time. That's where we're at. So getting all those reps in practice, getting some meaningful snaps in the games or at the end of games here over the last 2 months. Now it's time to go, and we need both those guys to step up for sure.
So the offense is trying to show its versatility, and different guys are starting to fit in different roles and significant roles. Is it due to them understanding your playbook, or are you simplifying the offensive game plan?
No, I don't know that we're simplifying anything. I think it's more, repetition and having an opportunity to kind of dig more and more and more as we go into the details. We got a lot of new faces on the offensive side of the ball, and it's not surprising that it's taken a little bit of time for those to kind of mesh together and gel together and come together. But I think we're making progress every week, and I think we made some more progress last weekend.
Where's Mitch Evans from August to right now?
Confident, playing really, really solid football, both in the passing game and the running game. And I think it's been a little bit of a journey for him to gain that confidence, to feel like his old self. And it was great on Saturday to see. He's put a lot of work in, and it was great on Saturday to see him rewarded for what he's put into getting back to full strength and full speed and playing that way.
I asked earlier about the fact that the defensive line has been able to really plug in guys, next man in, have really no issues, and same seems to be on your side with the offensive line. What's allowed that group to step up in such a way that they have really been seamless and improved throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it starts with having really talented players, and we didn't have a lot of experience there, but we knew we had some guys that were going to continue to get better and gel together. And then, you combine that with an offensive line coach and Coach Rudolph that does an unbelievable job teaching the fundamentals and helping put those guys in position. And it's a recipe for continued improvement, and we like where that group's headed.
A healthy Mitch Evans that you just talked about, how can he expand what you're doing on offense?
Yeah, I think it opens up some extra avenues for us, obviously, and it was nice to see him and Riley during the game Saturday kind of gain more and more of a connection, and that's what it's going to take for that kind of to help elevate that position in particular and provide more opportunities for him and the rest of the tight ends.
And then 10 games in, what have you kind of learned about Jaden Greathouse?
Just that he is who I thought he was, which is a really good football player who does his job every snap, is a unbelievable teammate, digs into the work on the practice field necessary to continue to improve, and I wouldn't want to be doing this without him.
Got one more? We good?
I got one more.
Yep.
This is your first group of seniors since being back at Notre Dame. Is there any particular player on the offensive side of the ball that you have grown a close relationship with?
Well, I hope all of them. But I think more than anything, it's just an opportunity for us to honor those guys. And obviously that's going to happen. A great deal of that's going to happen on Saturday with ceremony and announcements and different things like that. But the best way that as a football staff and as a football program we can honor these guys is to prepare ourselves this week the right way and make sure we send them out on senior day the way they deserve to be for all the hard work and dedication that they've given to the University of Notre Dame.
Coach, was it fun for you on Saturday to kind of turn your guys loose on punt block? And then what's the key for that unit to be successful in a situation like that?
Yeah, it was fun. It was great to see them have some success. And, it was something that we've been close multiple times throughout the season. And so, it was just good. I think seeing their excitement and passion for it, and it definitely just makes them want to know what the game plan is each week, and gives us something to kind of build off of, especially knowing how good of a special teams unit overall Florida State has had.
And then I read something the other day online where it basically said punt return was kind of dying just because of all the different alignments and types of punts. Is that something you kind of agree with, or?
I mean, I just think the game's evolving, and it used to be everybody would stay in the pocket and hit spiral punts, and then, just like with anything, somebody decided to try and mix it up, and it's a lot harder to get the amount of return opportunities, I guess you'd say, of where the returner's actually fielding a punt. So, as the game evolves, we have to, and so, we're always trying to be a double-edged sword. We want to have a returner back there that's confident and know when we call a return that he's going to get the blocks that he needs, and then we want to be aggressive on the front end as well.
The average Joe notices the specialist, but obviously you have so many players that are on the field in special teams that are not the ones touching the ball necessarily, but big-name players like Jack Kaiser. When you have someone of his stature wanting to be a member of special teams, how much does that help the unit as a whole?
Yeah, I think it sets the tempo, especially, or the environment probably when you see it in fall camp. Seeing like Kaiser and Drake, it makes even younger guys want to decide that like this isn't even an option, and it's something fun to be a part of. So kudos to Jack. He's the first person, to come over after a play on a special teams play, whether he was in it or just being a great teammate and watching and saying, hey, coach, did you see this, or what about that? And so, it makes the younger guys, especially, kind of in the linebacker room or in the safety room, and just really want to, kind of be a part.
And the program as a whole has gone to the transfer portal a lot for those specialists at kicker and punter. Do you see that continuing, or do you see you guys looking at possibilities of going the high school route in that area? Or what's the mentality in that area?
The mentality there is, with the way the roster, sets up, it's one of those things that you got to really be confident on. And, I would compare it to, you want to make sure you have a guy similar to a closing pitcher, that you want to go out and get a guy if you feel like you don't have it on your roster. So each year is different, and we're always giving the guys, that are on this team the opportunity first to show us and perform. And then we make the decisions. Coach, meets with us, and I'm sure for all positions, but especially for the specialists where it's so limited, you got to make sure that you feel like you have the guy in place.
What's kind of the key for you, just playing with that nasty attitude, but also making sure you don't cross the line too?
I think it's a happy medium. So going to try and come in nasty, but I'm going to try and keep it to an extent. So I'm kind of a level-headed guy off the field, so I try and keep that with me a little bit on the field. That way I don't go over the line and get a penalty. Because one thing Coach Free says is that no one's worth 15. And so I try and keep that in the back of my head at all times. That way, I can play a little gritty and a little nasty, but got to keep it in bounds.
And then what were those conversations like with Braden and your dad after your 2 sacks last week?
Neither one of them are big on words, like talking a bunch. Both just said how proud they were, and I was really happy for that. They know this is not a long time coming, but working hard, that eventually would pay off, and that they're just proud of me.
Obviously, you get tons of questions, I imagine, about comparing you to your brother, but what are the differences and what are the similarities between the two of you? Because I can look at you and hear you and remember your brother. So what are the ways that you guys are similar and the ways that you guys are different?
I'd say the ways we're similar is our mentality and the way we're going to try and come in, and the way we're going to play is pretty similar. And the differences are probably the style we play. He's more of a power guy. I'm more of a finesse guy. So he's going to stop the run, and I'm going to sack the quarterback.
Are you as big of a Thanksgiving guy as he was?
Honestly, I'm getting to it. I'm not a huge Thanksgiving fan, but I'm a fan. I like what's the orange one? Like the candy yams. That's the one with the marshmallows on it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one. Candy yams and ham. My favorite.
Has your preparation this week changed at all, just knowing that you're going to have a bigger workload on Saturday?
No, just taking stride by stride, Just do my thing. I'm not trying to do too much because I don't want to intertwine and get messed up in my head. Just trying to take it stride by stride, trusting the coaches in our preparation, do what we've been doing the past couple weeks.
What's allowed your position group as a whole to be able to step up the way they have with so many guys going down, and yet it seems like you guys haven't missed a beat this year?
It's just a credit to our work. Every single guy goes out there and works as hard as he can every single day. No one's going out there, and if they're going through the motions, someone's going to be there to pick them up. No matter who you are and what your status is, there's going to be someone else in the D-line to pick you up. And so I think that's where we excel as a unit, is that we're always next man up, next man in line. We're always ready to go. You have to know multiple positions in case you play another position. So I think that's how we're able to be complete as a unit and not miss a beat.
Good. One question. Is there any player that you look up to for guidance? Is there a quarterback? Who is it? If there is.
Like a player that I look up to?
Yep.
Probably Kurt Hinish.
Yeah. And
It's probably the player I look up to.
Why is that?
I'd probably say him, just because we're very, very similar. I haven't really met him that many times, but I think he's a great guy. And I like his play style and his mentality, so, I'm trying to follow myself after him.
Aneyas, what have you kind of learned from Jeremiah and JD about just being like a complementary running back?
As far as what they bring to the table, it's just different. And, making the most out of every single rep has been the biggest thing for me. Seeing what these guys can do with the ball and knowing what they can do has benefited me for knowing what I need to do when I'm in there. So just completely dominating my job and understanding my job allows them to do what they need to do. And, they put me in positions for when I come in, we just seen that scenario, third down, come in, do my job.
And then along those lines, how have you kind of built that trust with the staff to kind of make your role bigger as the weeks have kind of gone on?
I think just consistently getting my job done has been the biggest thing. It's paid dividends, day in and day out at practice. I'm earning high grades, and I think coaches are seeing, whether that's I'm with the ones or when I'm with the twos, doing stuff at a high level consistently. I think that's a big thing. Being able to contribute in the pass game a little bit more with my hands, and just whenever I get these opportunities, just, making the most out of them.
How have you stayed patient? Obviously, you've had moments that have really shined, but then there's not that many moments out there. How do you stay patient?
That just goes to show how much faith and trust I have in Coach D. He has a plan for me, and I'm sticking to that plan, being consistent in my work, and just knowing, Coach D has his ways of, making that being patient a little bit easier, because obviously it gets hard at times, but, just trusting Coach D and his plan, but also knowing that I got two, it's no secret that I got 2 draft picks in front of me, but also knowing that I'm able to contribute with 2 guys that are going to go to the league, speaks for itself.
Bryce, did you think you would be playing this much coming out of the spring, and then what's just this season kind of been like for you?
Coming out of the spring, it was definitely a goal of mine, but I think the mentality was just one day at a time, not getting too ahead of it, just making sure I was giving my best each day. I think that will continue to help me as I move forward.
And then we've seen Coach Wash working with you during pregame on certain stuff. I guess where has he just kind of helped your game the most this fall?
Definitely just making sure I have clarity. When I have clarity, I play fast. And he's done a great job of helping me limit what I'm seeing to one or two things so I can play fast. Yeah.
And then have you had like your welcome to college football moment yet?
In a game or in practice?
Yeah, in a game or practice.
Yeah, definitely in practice. There was one in fall camp. I went to spin back, and they had a slide protection. The guy was waiting for me and blew me up, straight up blindsided me. But yeah, for sure. Yes, sir.
What's allowed the defensive line to be able to keep its level high despite the fact that you guys have lost so many guys? Obviously, it's always about next man in. You've been one of those next men in, but you guys have not dropped off in the level. What's allowed that to happen, do you feel?
I think just the known across the board that the standard is the standard, whether you're the starter or you're the backup, you're not going to get a drop off. I think that's a credit to the way coach holds us to his standard and the team standard and the D-line standard.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from your dad about football?
not necessarily about football, but just life in general. I would say get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where you grow. In the uncomfortable moments, and chasing those moments is where you're going to find the most growth. And I think that's where I've tried to put myself in.
A lot of people in your position could have said, I probably want to go somewhere else because of Dad's name here.
Mm-hmm.
What made you say, no, I want to follow him and create my own legacy at Notre Dame as well?
Yeah, that was definitely something I had to embrace, just knowing that when I came here. But I wouldn't say it's the only thing. My coming in, the most thing I was attracted to was my class. The guys I was coming in with, the defensive class and the offensive guys. It was great. From the first time I met them, I was like, this is the place I want to be. This is the place where I want to build a legacy,
Jaden, the slot fade's kind of a staple in Mike Denbrock's offense. What about that do you like, and I guess does it suit your game too?
Yeah, definitely. I think I like being matched up with nickels and just being in the slot, operating with space. And, we've been working on that route every day in practice. Every day in one-on-ones, I'm asking for a slot fade. So just trying to constantly get reps at it, constantly improve. And I think that's definitely been paying off in these games.
And then do you have an example of what Coach Brown does in the meeting rooms to help you guys prepare that may have been different from what you experienced last year?
I definitely think just attacking leverage, understanding that we want to get as much outside as we can on that route, and just being able to fight through hands and being physical at the catch point is definitely something that's been helping.
Jaden, what has this season been like for you individually?
It's definitely been just a learning process overall, just understanding the ebbs and flows of the game, understanding what my role is, understanding how I can help the team win in whatever way that is, and just trying to be the best player that I can be, attacking every single day in practice with the best attitude and effort that I can, and hoping that translates to the games.
Has it been frustrating at times when the ball hasn't been coming your way?
I mean, it would be frustrating for any receiver, but that's just a part of the game, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes for this team to win, and my priority is team glory, like Coach Freeman says, and so we're just focused on making it to the national championship.
You kind of have a knack for weaving your way through screens and traffic. I guess, is that something that came natural to you from a young age, or I guess what's kind of the secret to that?
I think just feeling the flow of the game, just understanding how the defense is moving, and then knowing what each of my guys are supposed to be doing and what their job is. So that helps me do my job even better. Just knowing where my landmarks are, where I'm trying to get, and then just being a playmaker overall.
You've been a part of this offense since you stepped on campus. What does the senior class mean to you?
What is the what?
The senior class mean to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, these guys are great, all of them. Just building a relationship with them, taking me in as a young guy, and just showing me what the standard is here, what college football is like, and then how to balance it all off the field, too. These seniors are some of my closest friends, and so definitely going to miss them, but we got one more game to put on for them, so trying to honor them.